We are just going to do a very casual vision board creation session for 2024. I'm going to be using a Canva template, which will be available to download in the description below. You're welcome to use it to help develop your own vision board if you are not a paper person like me. I'll be honest, I don't like having a bunch of paper around, so I don't intend to make a paper version anytime soon. I could easily print out, frame it, and call it a day. So that's what we're going to do. I made a couple different versions of this board. You have this intro section, which kind of lets you highlight some of the different aspects of things in your life, like what you want your work life to look like, your personal, your relationship, your health, and your spirituality. You can fill all of these in with images and do like an action or a quote affirmation type thing that you would want to put there. The second page is honestly my favorite. And this is where I set this up so that you can have kind of a scrapbooky vibe to your vision board, or like a lot of the collage vision boards people creating, but with the flexibility to move things around, change colors, change your name. You can put images in all of these boxes, highlight some words. If you have a quote that you really want, I created kind of it almost looks like, those old label makers that do the embossed lettering in the typewriter font. So I did those kind of in random places. And honestly, these you can move around. They don't have to be in those exact spots or whatever, and change how they even display. So if you like this type of vibe, you're welcome to use that. If you're more of a I just want random boxes, you have this version. If you want something a little bit more structured, maybe look even a little bit more scrapbooky with random paper in the background. Maybe you're into colors as part of your vision board. So you can put some hexes and stuff here. These are the three colors I'm vibing with for my she shed here. So that's why those are there. Or if you want something a lot more structured, this is more of a exact spaced grid format. And you can copy and paste, duplicate these pages in Canva. If you're unfamiliar with Canva, you can do that and have multiple pages if you want. And you can download it as a PDF if you would just rather have it as a PDF. We can turn this into a desktop. I can show you how to do that in a different video. But for now, we're just going to get started. I'm just going to sit here and make my own. I've been sitting here thinking about what I want in 2024 and downloading some images from Pinterest or Instagram accounts that I know and love and follow. And we're just going to walk through it together. You can go to the link below and download your own template to start with. You're more than welcome to do that. But if you want to watch me kind of plan through what I'm planning to do in 2024, then here you go. Now, the first thing I like to do is, and I got this from Catherine Manning, who actually I should probably put an image of her in this as well. I'll look for that while I'm doing this because she's a big inspiration to me, is not going to be growth. I think one of the things that's holding me back business-wise or even productivity-wise is discipline. And I know that sounds very cliche, but I do think that discipline is going to be a big factor for me in 2024. That's the one thing that I think I need to focus on the most. It's what I really want to have a good appreciation for in 2024. So that's where I'm going with that. I have a whole folder I've been throwing images in that I want to utilize for this. So hopefully they make sense. So for work, so I got my word discipline. That's definitely going to be my focus for the year. Work is honestly probably my hardest one. I'm very much a person that has their hands in a lot of pies, and I don't want to not be that way. But what I want is to be more organized and disciplined. So the word came in again, but I have to figure out how to incorporate that into, let's see, into work. So I'm trying to look up something that would mean, actually, this affirmation here. This is an Aristotle affirmation I think I'm going to use. Through self-discipline comes freedom. I really like that. Now, the spacing here is a little off, so I'm going to ungroup these bits and move this up. And I think I'm going to spread these out more. Maybe I can get all this on one line. Okay, maybe not one line, but I can adjust the spacing so that the sentence is closer together. There. And honestly, that would work for my health too. So work, an image that would describe work for me, I honestly don't know, because it's weird that work for me and health are exactly the same. They both need discipline. So how would I display that in a way that is cohesive? And the other thing with work is it's more of keeping on schedule to make more money. Like, I want to make more money. Like, obviously people work to make money. In health, I want discipline to get healthier, which is its own form of wealth. So both of them are an increase of some sort of wealth to me, but I don't want them to be the same image. So I found a cool image that I like, and I don't know that it'll fit well in these boxes. So let's take a look here. I mean, it does, but see, I don't like how the spacing goes here. So let me take that off, and I'm going to use some stock photo for a lot of this too. So this was the original image. The issue with the size of this is, you see how it's going to cut off the hand. The hand was an important part of that imagery. So maybe let's look up a different word. Discipline. And I'm not talking about obviously getting someone in trouble, but maybe self-discipline is what I need to put. And that kind of works. But I also want discipline here. And I don't want the same affirmation there. Maybe I can find a different one. Actually, this is another good affirmation. It is everything. And I guess it makes sense that discipline is the word this year, because when you think of how much it's going to impact two very significant parts of my life, that's pretty intense. So let's try workout discipline, see if there's something better that comes out there. These kind of work, but I think I'm going to go with, and I shouldn't, because I don't plan to get into martial arts. I haven't been into martial arts in forever. But look at the face of this person, and not that you can really see the face, but the stance and everything. The culture of people that are into martial arts is extremely disciplined in a very admirable way. But I don't want to use, because I don't plan to get into martial arts this year. I guess I could, but it's, yeah, maybe next year, or not this coming year, but maybe the year after. Her face is a little awkward. Let's just look at workout and see if there's something there that will fit. I really want Donald up in there. Whoops. Because one of his goals is we're going to be doing a lot of workouts together. So I like having a partnership image to display the health portion of things, because it's something we both want to focus on for next year. So self-discipline in work, health, also very discipline oriented. My personal, what's weird is I don't consider anything personal. Like, all of these things here are personal, and that's all that encompasses my personal life. I don't know that I have anything that I consider my personal life outside of relationships, health, and spirituality. So what would you put here? Like, what? I think I know what I'm going to put here. One of the things I've really been passionate about is developing a knowledge of herbal medicine. And I've downloaded some images here, and it's going to go along with the health thing as well. I'm taking an herbal class. So it's very much something I've been wanting to do. I'm actually going to balance these out a little bit, because I don't like how they don't line up. There we go. I guess it's the same here. These aren't going to line up, but whatever. It's personal. If it don't line up, it's okay. Nothing's perfect. But for me, that's a big personal development, is the ability to learn, also to write. I want to actually finish a book and be published. I've had my first magazine publication this year. So next year, I actually want to finish. I've done most of a book that I'm wanting to write on marketing, actually written and formatted. I just have to finish it up. It's not really as long as I wanted it to be, but some good herbal medicine quotes. It would have to be a short one. I could go with the Hippocrates, let thy food be thy medicine. That goes with health. So maybe I need to do more of a learning quote or something, or affirmation. A lot of these are so long. So I think instead I'm going to put something like never stop learning. It's simple, it's going to fit in the space, and it still embodies the goal, which is to develop an education in herbal medicine, but also with writing the couple of books, a couple of fantasy novels, and the marketing book that I want to do next year. Relationships, honestly, I really want to be mindful of not only supporting Donald better, like we can always improve supporting our spouse. It's not like I don't support him now. I support him as absolutely as often as I can in any way I can. But also in like intimacy, I'm a little worried about what images are. There were no results for intimacy. Maybe holding hands, something simple that's not. Oh, these are my uploads. That's why it didn't come up. Let's go to photos. Yeah, I think being a little bit more purposeful in our intimacy. I don't want these to get too risque. I'm trying to think which one is more appropriate. That's cute. We'll do that, something like that. And I think that's going to be a big focus for 2024 is to really focus down on intimacy and appreciation for Donald. Let's find some sort of affirmation. Actually, no, I'm going to create my own. I want to say purposeful tensions. And then let's change our spacing here. So it's, and we will ungroup this down a little bit. I don't like it being so crowded. And maybe move this one up a little bit. Purposeful, intimate intentions, I think, is a good affirmation for my relationship with my husband for 2024. And then spirituality. This one is going to be a hard one because my religious views are way different than a lot of people that probably will be watching this. And I'm not entirely comfortable with being open about that, but I do want to obviously continue with the vision board idea. So I think this is what I will do. I'm going to just find some beautiful images of being out in nature. This is a good one. And then getting back to my roots, I think is where that's a good, just a little bit better. Yeah, I think it's going to be it's a good initial start. And honestly, looking at, when I sit back and I look at these, I don't really like the self-discipline because it's not really an image. I actually think I'm going to change that one. I'd rather it be like a vision. I don't want it to be health related because this is meant to be for business. You have to be a little creative with some of your, I guess, words that you're using to find these things. So what is this one? This one could work. Let's do this one. Plus she's got plants behind her. And I'm very big into nature and plants. So she's got a computer. She looks successful, happy, organized, not cluttered and chaotic. Now, one other thing I did notice, I'm going to go into the second one and pull some of these tape items. I like having the tape, especially if it's something that looks like torn paper or whatever. So I'm actually going to duplicate and put some tape on top of these just to make it look a little bit more homegrown. There, and I don't want it on top to replace. There we go. 8. I did the stretchy thing again. I never try to redo those manually because they're a pain in the ass. And yes, I do cuss on my channel. I apologize. All right, so now we got some, it looks like it's taped up, which is what I prefer. So yeah, I think this looks pretty good. I've got my inspiration from my work, my personal life, my relationship, my health, and spirituality. So now we can move on to the second page, which this to me is the fun page because this is where you can just spit out all the different things that aesthetics that you love or whatever. So I know I have a couple that I looked up earlier, the recently used stuff. So a couple things that I know I'm really interested in seeing in 2024 is I'm not going to say 2 books because I know me. Like I had a goal last year of reading 10 books and I made that goal. And this year I had a goal of reading 15. I did not do that goal. I switched it about half the year because I knew I wasn't going to make it. So I just did 10 again, and I've read 11. So I've beaten that goal, but I know I can be a little overzealous with my intentions with some of these things. Writing a book would be great. And I'm almost done one. I do have to do probably a lot more edits and drafts and stuff for it. So I think I can publish it, or at least get it ready to publish in 2024. I don't know how long the publishing world takes because I've never done it. So definitely want that on there. One of the other things, obviously, I want to read more. Thinking to read 10 books again, because that's an easy thing, and I want to keep with the same pace. I do want to find a nice quote for reading, or like a word for reading. Let's see what's out there. I love this one. I think it's gonna be too long for here, but maybe I can move this down here. And it's basically, reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. You really love that. So I'm going to just format that in here. And I can technically make it a little smaller if I want, if it takes up too much room, if it's a longer text like this. So yes, love that. Another thing I really want to do is journal more. I started journaling in 2021. No, 2022, I think. And then I did pretty decent and did it pretty regular. I'm starting to rethink the idea of paper journaling. I love the idea of paper journaling. Don't get me wrong. But I have so much to say, and I tend to be long-winded, as you probably noticed in various videos. I don't know I'll be able to stick to it if it's written. But I like the idea of having a paper journal hand down to family or whatever. So I'm thinking of developing a way to journal digitally that you can then have printed into a nice book. But I also like the idea of keeping journals around in case I do want to journal. So I'm a little chaotic in that regard. So I'm going to throw a nice journaling image in here that I found. I don't know what I'm going to journal daily, but I will try to journal weekly. Daily is a little too much for me. So that's certainly something. Journaling, writing, absorbing myself into books. I don't think until, not last year, but the year before. Maybe it was last year. Yeah, last year, I don't think I had read a book that wasn't a reference book since high school. So you're talking like 20 years. And I've always read reference books, like I'm studying marketing or whatever. I've never been able to read a fiction book. So I finally picked up a book called Lost Apothecary, which I'll link below. Actually, I'll link all of the books I've read over the last 2 years below. So if you're interested in reading any of them. But the Lost Apothecary was the first book I had read since high school that was fiction. And it was like, I really enjoy getting into these worlds and absorbing into them. I've always been into fantasy movies. I was a RPG gamer for years. I did Vampire the Masquerade, Dungeons and Dragons. I play with my husband and friends every now and then. So I really absorb, and I did a MUD. I still have a MUD. I've had a MUD since 2001. So you're talking 20 years on a MUD. I like getting absorbed in these storylines and stuff and characters. So I was like, why did I prevent myself from experiencing such a wonderful thing as reading? And that's when I really started getting back into books. So reading, writing, and journaling, very important things I want to focus on. Discipline in 2024. There's also some aesthetic options that I want to include in my vision board. One of the things is I watch a channel called Kevro's Home, and it's called, they also call it Houselander. It's an Instagram account. And she bases all of her design aesthetics off of things from like Outlander. And her kitchen, I won't be able to do this exact kitchen here, maybe my next house, but I love it so much. I want it to be one of the more prominent photos on this. Look at this with the stone. And it's just got that medieval vibe to it. And I just fell in love with her Instagram account. So I want that on my board. I'm just going to call it Houselander. absolutely love everything about what she's doing to her home and want to mimic it, not here, but in our next home. Now, one of the things I am wanting to focus on here next year that I am committed to doing is renovating our kitchen. Now, I have to renovate it in a way that it will sell well, which is why I'm not doing the dark aesthetic here. So this image here, I'm going to throw it on the screen and then figure out which spot I want to put it in. I'm going with a brick, a fake brick, like a brick tiling, well, I don't know what you call it, in the kitchen with some wooden floating shelves. I'm taking one of the cabinets down for that. I'm gonna, instead of reinstalling all of the cabinets, I'm actually just going to sand them down and paint them and put handles, new handles on them. I think that'll save a lot of money, but this is something that I'm really interested in doing for next year. Is I really want to get the kitchen redone, not only for my own sanity, because I hate my kitchen, but for resale value, because we don't plan to stay in this house. So that is an absolute goal, and that's the vibe I'm going for in the kitchen, which kind of is given rustic Italian, but maybe not the cabinets. I think brick does that for me with plants and stuff. I like that vibe. I'm going to throw Catherine on here because she is a YouTuber that I am absolutely in love with in terms of like her channel and her growth and living the life she loves. And that's a quote she uses a lot. So that's what I'm going to use for her quote on there. I will put her channel below. I really want to spend, and this one I'm going to put in here. This is my sister and my nephew and one of my goats. 2024, I definitely want to be filled with them a lot. So that is going in my little heart area here, those two, because they've brought so much joy. I just connected with her literally, by the time this video goes up, probably a year to the day, Christmas Day. Last year, I reached out to her. So we've been able to, and I didn't know she had a son at the time. Like, I had heard rumors, but I didn't know anything about him. He's 6 and I haven't seen her in 7 years. So I have missed his entire childhood up until now. But this last year has been amazing getting back in touch with them. So I want that to be part of my vision in 2024. I also like the idea of doing kind of a purge in 2024 of a lot of things that are just filled in different spaces in the house, especially my kitchen. We are definitely going to be doing a nice clear the clutter in 2024. I'm going to put clear the clutter. Clear the clutter. Wow. Type crystal. There we go. That's something that's definitely going to happen. I want to be more mindful of my finances in 2024. So I'm going to throw that over here, I think. I'm not very good at my own bookkeeping, but I definitely am growing as a business. The last 2 years, I've done over $100,000. For a small company, that's pretty decent, but I want to grow by 50% next year, at least. So there's a lot of financial growth that I'm looking to do in 2024, which I'm also going to add this in here because I want to make a good profit. A lot of times when you're running a business, your money just like, where did it go? Oh, that's a big element that I want to focus on for this year, is really making sure I'm doing a good profit. I do want to incorporate some kind of aesthetic for the herbal medicine that I'm doing. So I'm going to just throw this in the back here, I think. Can I not reach that image? There we go. I don't like this little snowy thing on top, so. Pick that up there. All right, what else do I want to focus on? Oh, this one. This guy, if you've never seen the videos, I've been seeing everywhere. His name's David, and his channel is called Movement by David. And it's all about flexibility. Like, he's crazy flexible. Let me put him there, maybe. Yeah, I'll put him there. But he really goes into detail about how to maintain your flexibility as you get older. And that's a big thing that Donald and I both want to focus on. We're in our 40s. We're not getting any younger anytime soon. So I really want to have that be a focus, along with nutritional health and weightlifting in general. And do I actually have weights on here? I don't think I pulled a weightlifting image. So let's do, I love weightlifting. I absolutely love weightlifting, and I really want to focus on that some this year as well. So we are going to lift things, that in there. I know some of the other things that I do want to focus on are some fashion. So here's the thing. I've been working from home since 2021, like early 2021, like February. And I bought a she shed with a grant that I was granted during the CVID, that paid my entire bills for my business for a year. I instead used it to pay off most of my bills for the year, but also put a lot of it towards buying a home studio. So one of the issues I'm running into is I need to finish the studio. And I'm also I don't worry about how I'm dressed fashionably. So I would like to, not that I'm worried about focusing on professional fashion, but I am wanting to develop a nice aesthetic fashion-wise for me. If I'm like, instead of just wearing pajamas, like actually develop a style. And I really like more of a kind of cottage core, dark academia type of fashion. So stuff like this is more of like cottage core. This is honestly the look I would love to be able to wear every day, items like this. And so that's why I want to put them on here, is developing my own sense of style through that. Another thing that I did the calculations, and I think we can do in 2024, as soon as this uploads, is to be debt free, except for the mortgage. I think we can pay off everything next year as long as we're disciplined and we're still working on bringing in income, reducing expenses where we can. I think we can pay off all of our debt except for the mortgage next year. So that is a huge goal, because one, we're down to one vehicle because I don't need a vehicle because I work from home. There's nowhere I really need to be going. But we would like to buy a new vehicle because my truck's shot. I'm actually going to sell it here soon to somebody that wants to fix up a truck. Donald's Mariner is not that far. I think he only drives 2 minutes to work, so it's not like we need like a big travel vehicle, but we do want to replace both vehicles eventually, and to be debt free, and then save up the rest of all the money that we were putting to make ourselves debt free to just buy a vehicle with cash is a big goal. So debt free is high on my list of priorities next year. Let's see what else I had on here. This is a big one. I'm going to put this in one of the bigger boxes. To basically, this picture, maybe I have to put it on a smaller one. Actually, I'm going to try to put it here. Will it fit here? Kind of. Image to me, if you didn't see it, it's basically developing a routine. This is honestly, I think, one of the biggest issues I have as a business owner is having a routine. And I think part of it has to do because I work from home. There's constant distractions. My dad comes in my office a lot to chit chat. And I'm like, Dad, if this was a business, would you do this? No. There's one of the blessings from working from home is I wanted to be available for if an animal got out or something happened on the farm. And sometimes that happens and that's a distraction, but that's to be expected. I don't have any issues with that. But a lot of these distractions prevent me from getting into the office the same time every day, ending work the same time every day. I really want to establish a routine where I'm not staying up late and getting up late the next morning or something. So routine is a big one for me. The image is a little weird, but I still know what this is. So I'm going to stick with it. Maybe I'll adjust this one a little bit. There we go. To develop a routine is a big one for me for 2024. Another big one is nutrition. We actually do really well, I think, for our nutrition. Maybe, yeah. We eat a lot of meat and vegetables and fruit. We do not eat a lot of grains at all. We've eaten more lately, I think, mostly because of the holidays, but I want to really drill down on that a little bit more. Donald is the one that has the bigger issue, I think, with nutrition. He'll eat anything I cook. So as long as I have food available, he'll eat it. And sometimes in the morning he'll go out and get a breakfast sandwich or something, or he'll drink soda at work, and he's trying to work on that. We don't keep soda in the house at all. Occasionally we'll buy Zevias. which are a stevia sweetened soda, and it's 0 calorie, 0 sugar. So those I'm willing to cope with, and I like them. But nutrition wise, I think we really want to continue building up our routine for what we tend to keep around to eat and the meals that we tend to cook for ourselves, but also to, and this actually brings me to my next item, grow a lot of our own food so we know what's going into our bodies. Our own food is a big one. I really want to increase our garden capability next year. And with my sister around, I think we'll have, more help to do that. But actually, I didn't write these down, did I? One of the things that we're going to do is Donald's supposed to be working on a greenhouse here soon. It probably won't happen until January, February, but we're going to get our greenhouse going after we get some goat shelters built. And then I'm thinking about developing a high tunnel as well. For those of you that have seen our channel with our gardens, we don't have any high tunnels right now, and I think it would be a really good idea for us to develop some. I think there's some cheap ways that we can do that, and that is certainly a goal for us. But I love the idea of growing our own food. That gives me 2 more boxes to include items, and I'm actually getting pretty close to the end of my thing. I think I am going to add a couple aesthetic items. I really like, is that the one I want to include? So there's 3 of them. I'm going to put all 3 of them on the screen here, and we'll take a look at these. So I liked the idea of a book nook. The apothecary, I don't think I need that one. I've got the herbs up here. But I really a dark academia, dark cottagecore aesthetic. That's always been, for me, I love the idea of vintage decor. I love the idea of medieval aesthetics. And I think there's a good balance on creating that vibe for a modern home, like homestead. So that's something I'm going to be moving towards both here in my studio in a professional way, but also in my home and in the bedroom spaces that my dad's not in, because I don't think he would like it. He's more of a Westerns, but he likes rustic and I like rustic, so that we can create a balance there. But I really like the idea of more like a dark cottagecore, dark academia aesthetic for me, which also goes along with kind of the fashion style that I want to develop. And it goes really well with the type of lifestyle I want to read with or develop with reading and gardening. Really, me being a digital entrepreneur or business owner is the oddball out in a lot of this, but at the same time, we are misfits. So it works out. And actually, this is another one I liked. Kitchen. I guess I could just throw that in there. So here's another aesthetic I like. It's just like this dark kitchen. I don't want to put that though. One of the things that I don't like about my current home is you buy a house and it's okay, everything in here is good enough. And then 10 years go by and you haven't made it your own. And that's what I've been dealing with in my house. And my dad lives there, so he's got his own style, and I let him have his free reign of the downstairs, and then Donald and I have the upstairs. The downstairs is also where we cook. It's also where we watch TV or eat dinner or whatever, so that there's not really my vibe in there at all. So I think it's not building a home, it's personalizing a home is what I'm missing. And so I'm trying to think of ways I can do that. And part of that will be the kitchen renovation. I have a very tore up carpet in the living room. I want to tear up. There's beautiful wood floors underneath there. Finding ways to develop a beautiful space that I can enjoy, a sanctuary. Actually, let me change that to my home is my sanctuary. Because right now it doesn't feel that way. And I would really like it to be. So I think there's a couple items I didn't include, a couple more pieces of fashion, and maybe another aesthetic style photo. But I think overall, this looks pretty good. Now, I do need to update any of these inspirational words. Maybe I'll put cottage. Over here, I'll put routines because it's with the routine photo. It's a weird noise going on outside. I don't know if it's a goat. As I'm sitting here, financial freedom is definitely big on my list with the debt free and Positive mentors. Since this is near Catherine, and then I also have Dave on here. I wonder if there's any other words. If there's any, I might change out some of these words later on. But I think this actually looks pretty good. I think this has everything in it that if this was what my year looked like, I would be very happy. I think this is something that I would really enjoy having. So now, again, if you don't like this style of board, I do have more of a casual blocky version of the board, something a little bit more structured, less chaotic maybe, or more scrapbooky. And then I have one that's strictly gridded. So I will put a link below where you can get the link sent to you, so you can use this exact same template to build your own vision board. And then down below, I will link all of the books that I've read for this year, along with especially Catherine's channel and Dave's channel below. If you are interested, I'll also link Houselander's Instagram below, because that's a big inspiration for me. And check them out and see if these are things that might inspire you in 2024. I guess two things that I would love to add, but I don't think are really appropriate for a vision board is one, being more organized, which routine, I guess I could add another box just for organization, but the routine is a big part of that, and clearing the clutter is a part of that. So I think that all kind of ties in together. I forget what the second one is already. Can't think of anything else. Also, if you do have like a quote like that you are interested in including in your vision board, what I would do is go ahead and add this. Actually, I'll go ahead and add this on the template. And let's find personal growth quote of some sort. If you really want to include a long quote in your vision board, this would be a good way to do that. I'm going to try to find one real quick and add it in here, and then you can change it. This one might work. Personal development, the belief that you are worth the effort, time, and energy needed to develop yourself. Get me with my typos. What is going on there? Now, if I need to extend this out so it's all one line, and then just maybe have it go across some of these like this, you could certainly do that. I'll add the option. Actually, I'll go ahead and put it in the empty template, because again, this is what we started with. And then you can take it out if you don't want it. But it might be nice to have a little thing on there. So yeah, here is my 2024 vision board. I think this is perfect for what I would really like to have in 2024. Again, I will link everything below, and let me know if you found this useful.